Hello coaches, thanks for joining me for another Modern Soccer Coach Breakdown. Today we're going to take a look at Marcelo Bielsa'S presentation from the Aspire Academy in 2016, 7 years later. Since then we've obviously got a greater appreciation of Bielsa teams from all his time at Leeds United. So many articles, so many videos, so many breakdowns on him. Are there still learnings in this presentation? When we revisit it, does it impact us in a new way? What are the takeaways? Should we be looking at it closer? If you enjoy it, as always, please give it a like and please subscribe. And if you want the details of all the exercises that we'll look at today, I've also got them on the Modern Soccer Coach website for free. So click on the link below and you can access the article as well if you want the organization and all the dimensions and all that stuff. Alright, Bielsa's presentation, here we go. Alright, so we always start these presentations off with the why. Now, Marcelo Bielsa has impacted so many coaches and continues to impact so many coaches. The presentation is based on 5 ways that you can lose a defender. And that kind of tells you what level of detail that Marcelo Bielsa works at. Yes, we can break down systems. Yes, we can break down technique. But this is a specific way to find space on the pitch for an individual in a team game. So I even think the title of that there says so much about the quality of Marcelo Bielsa, the impact of Marcelo Bielsa, that we should be looking a little bit closer to that. 5 ways to lose a defender. Here we go. So the first way is what Marcelo Bielsa called reception with a turn or already oriented. This is where an attacker checks towards the ball, receives, controls on the half turn, and then is in a position to play forward. It can be a straight or a diagonal pass. As Bielsa said, it's in front of the game, moving from line to line. So in this respect, he means dropping in between the lines or starting behind a line and dropping in front of a line, but receiving the ball with an opportunity to play forward. These are the type of exercises that Bielsa shared with 3 players. You can see timing here is very, very important. Dribble across, player moves into space and then is in a position to dribble in this one. So there's 2 actions. The player moves in relation to the ball and then there's the check into the ball to receive and play forward. The second one is what Bielsa called reception behind the opponent's back. So you attract the opponent with the first move and then exploit the space you create with the second movement. Very useful if you're very close to the opponent. Bielsa said in his presentation about when space is compressed and reduced, I try to get the defender out of their area where they don't feel at home. So again, when you're looking at this on the training pitch, it's teaching players to move it with timing, stop, slowing down, distract the defender. He also said that you've got to be very, very precise in everything you train. That's where you add value. One of the most powerful things in the presentation are the training examples, I think, because the precision and how specific his movements are tells you a lot about how he views the game. Really interesting. The third one, and this is my personal favourite because I think it's so overlooked, reception beside the opponent is what he calls it. So opening up space at the side of the opponent. When Bielsa did his presentation, he talked about creating separation in the counter-attack. Usually in the counter-attack, defenders close the central space. They also do that in low block. So he calls this going into a corridor. So you're not moving wide, you're just moving into a separate area where you can get separation from the defender. Again, he talks about precision with the technique and the training. Very interesting for this one that he uses those white lines. So he doesn't want the corridor to be too vast. He wants the player to get separation, but he also wants the player still in a position where they can affect the goal. Very, very interesting. Again, the session design is fascinating. The fourth one is reception after counter anticipating. Sounds really, really complicated, and it kind of is. He called this a messy type move where you individually unbalance the defender by moving them and then accelerating in the other direction. Fascinating, fascinating concept. He calls it a pass to the opponent because I think that means that he wants the opponent to commit to the challenge, which means the opponent's body shape is going to move in one direction and then the player moves in the other direction to get away. So you start away from the defender and then move towards the defender. Sounds counterproductive, but the fact that the defender is going to commit to the challenge Again, he called it pass to the opponent, means that you're going to be able to move in the other direction and probably get away from the defender. Again, fascinating concept and a really interesting session design. Hello coaches, you asked and we delivered. One of the most popular requests we get on this channel is passing warm-ups, and it's not the regular slow way to be passing exercises. No, what coaches are looking for is the one-touch intricate combination type exercises with that emphasis on quality, technique and tempo. So we have decided to put 30 of these exercises together and release them on an ebook that you can get access to right away. If you're a youth coach who's looking for some extra technical work, or you're even a college coach or a club coach working with older players looking for some warm-up exercises or some pictures to align with your tactical objectives, we can help you out. Our new ebook, 30 passing practices, is available on the link below. It's a PowerPoint that includes video, session details, and coaching points on each slide. Tons of ideas, tons of different pictures, lots of adaptions. You can get it on the link below or at modernsoccercoach.com/shop. Thanks for the support and enjoy. And then the fifth one is reception behind the opponent with an aerial pass. Defender and attacker start on the same line. The defender is drawn towards the ball slightly, and then the movement by the attacker is to go out of that space, run in behind and receive the ball. More of a linear pass in the examples that he used, but it happens a lot in wide areas. Again, the training is fascinating. In the examples he used, a second mannequin behind the centre defender, so almost a sweeper, which again adds to the precision of the ball from the central player. Very, very difficult to fit that ball in between, but again, that's the detail and the precision that Bielsa'S looking for in his work. Fantastic. So there you have it, coaches. 5 different ways. Again, if you want to get the breakdowns of all these exercises and if you want to watch the full presentation, I've got that on the website as well, modernsoccercoach.com for free. You can just get it on the link below. When you're at the link below, please subscribe if you haven't already. It means a lot that you support the work. Give it a like and subscribe before you shoot off. My takeaways for the presentation, there are quite a few. To go back and watch that, and I haven't watched that in years, and it impacted me probably greater than it did 4 or 5 years ago when I watched it for the first time. One of the biggest takeaways for me is how specific he is with his session design, but also the type of technique and precision that he's looking for technically. There is a massive, massive technical element to these exercises, but they're in a tactical context, and I think that's really, really interesting. Sometimes as coaches, we kind of compartmentalize technique, tactics, but at this level, I think it's a great reminder that it's really, really important to keep them both together. The level of tactical detail that he talks about in that presentation, and definitely check out the full presentation. They've got it in English, so you can get a good appreciation of what he's saying. It's fantastic. The second big takeaway for me is that a lot of this goes down to what the opponent is doing, but also impacting what the opponent is doing. So if you can get the opponent to move this way, then you move that way. Or in the one that he talked about, passing to the opponent, which I thought was absolutely brilliant, where you actually get the opponent to commit. Have you ever heard of a coach that says pass to the opponent? The concept of that just doesn't make sense. But when you have a player away from the opponent, moving towards the opponent, means that the opponent is going to commit to the challenge, which means that there's going to be momentum moving in the other way. From that aspect, it makes complete sense. And you think, why haven't I thought of this before? But again, to go back and say, okay, why don't you play to the opponent's feet? Yeah, not a lot of people out there are thinking that way. And that's the biggest thing for me, is the fact that he's put this together, the fact that he shared it, the fact that it's detailed, the fact that it's precise. And I think that's quite inspiring for us all. We all have beliefs on the game. We all value different things, and that's fine. Bielsa talked about learning from the players. So we did a podcast on this very, very recently, where we talked about watching the game as a fan or watching the game as a coach and getting a bit more out of watching your soccer. And I think it's really, really good to learn from different types of players. You've got so much access to so many clips today on social media, or if it's on the match, and you can share it with your players. But looking to break down the different techniques of different positions and aligning that with the tactical context, I took a lot from that, and again inspired me to go and look a little bit closer when I'm watching games this weekend. So I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you want the details of the session, please check on the link below. As always, I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye.